Do you believe that Jesus would be pleased with what he sees going on here in New Providence? I doubt he would. And he would probably say the same words spoken over the city of Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Oh, you Providence! Oh, you Providence! What a sad state of affairs you're in. As Jesus makes his way through the city, and he finds himself in Ridgeland Park, what exactly will he find? And to be specific, what would he find here at Christ the King? He comes into this church building this morning and he sees us properly clad. All what I would call dolled up. Beautiful dresses, lovely suits, expensive jewelry, expensive hairdos, lovely makeup. But Jesus has, my brothers and sisters, what I call X-ray eyes. What do I mean by that? I mean, Jesus doesn't have time this morning to check your suit out. Jesus doesn't have time this morning to see whether you're wearing an expensive dress or not. Jesus ain't checking your hair too. His eyes are penetrating the human heart. For you see, brothers and sisters, we human beings continue to look at the outward appearance, forgetting that God is only checking the heart. So we could spend all the money this morning in the world trying to doll up, make up, and look good. But if inside doesn't look as beautiful as the outside, you might as well have on filthy rags. I ask the question again, my brothers and sisters here assembled at Christ the King this morning, the second Sunday of Lent, as Jesus makes his way through the city of Nassau, what does he see? What does he see here at Christ the King? What else then is the gospel reading for today saying to you and saying to me? It says, my brothers and sisters, that Jesus' journey to Jerusalem was a necessary journey. It was simply unavoidable. Jesus knew full well, my brothers and sisters, what awaited him in Jerusalem. Jesus knew that this would be the very last time he would visit Jerusalem. Jesus knew that the authorities were planning not only to arrest him, but to kill him. And one would think that since Jesus had all that knowledge of the plans of these wicked men, that he would have avoided Jerusalem. For brothers and sisters, to me, that would have been the sensible thing to do. Not to go into the city. But he went nevertheless. Why? The hymn writer tells us. The hymn writer says, there was no other good enough to pay the price of sin. He, meaning Jesus, he only could unlock the gate of heaven and let us in. That's why he made that trip. Jesus knew full well that this trip would cost him his very life. But he had to make it because he was the perfect sacrifice. And I am suggesting to you this morning, my brothers and sisters assembled here at Christ the King, I'm suggesting to you that perhaps you and I need to make some necessary journeys today. Just like Jesus made that necessary journey to Jerusalem, perhaps there are those of us here this morning who need to make some necessary journeys today. Perhaps it is a journey to our parents' home. For there may be some of us here at church this morning who have forsaken our parents. There may be some of us here this morning who forget who our ma is and who is our pa. But yet, we could Sunday by Sunday march up here for communion. But we don't know the last day we marched to our parents' house to see how they are doing. I say to you this morning, that's a necessary journey. Perhaps there are those of us here this morning who need to make a trip at a sibling's house, a brother or sister house. Because we don't know the last day we said a word to our sister or brother. And it's not because we got sore throat and can't talk. And it's not because we've lost our speech. It is because that sister or brother has done us something and we are not prepared to forgive them. So we refuse to even act as if they are alive. But yet, Sunday by Sunday we all dress up, running here to the altar to receive the body and blood of Christ. Right. Perhaps it's a journey that we need to make to a friend today. That colleague at work that you've been passing for months now, and some of you for years. You're working in the same office, you know. You're working in the same place, but you pretend as if that person does not exist. But yet, Sunday after Sunday, we all dress up, pretending to be what we are not. I say we human beings we are good at putting on a show. I can tell you that. Listen to me. If you see we were to award in our churches persons for acting, the Academy Award could be offered in all of our churches. Because in all of them, we got a lot of pretenders. Now, Father, listen here. The pretenders at Holy Cross not here. So if you won't preach that, go to Holy Cross and preach that. I'm preaching it right here. Because there is no exception. Every single church in the diocese. We have people who Sunday by Sunday parading to the Holy Communion rail. And the last day they said woo to a person either in the neighborhood or where they wicked with.
My Lord.
Perhaps this morning you ain't need to go too far. Maybe you need to go right in here. You ain't need to make a trip to Jerusalem. You don't need to make a trip to the neighborhood. You can make it right in here. Because how many of us, Sunday by Sunday, avoid one another during the gift of the feast? We just carefully, strategically move through the aisles. See sister so-and-so that you ain't want no dealings with her, so you acting as if you don't even see her. You're hugging on somebody else, and sister so-and-so right over there, you know. Who you really need to hug up. Because the scripture says, if you're offering your gift before the altar, and you remember that your sister or your brother got something against you, what it says? I can't hear you. What it says? And go. First, be reconciled with your brother. And then do what? Now, these ain't my words. These are the words of Holy Scripture. I say this morning to you and to myself that there are some necessary trips that we need to make today. Perhaps it's to that estranged husband or wife of yours. That you refuse to forgive. It's been years since you have parted with each other, you know, years. I say years. But yet you still pretended like he or she